able to finance both national and international orders. Those who are doing imports, for example, when you have the money, you are able to do very good business. It's like a fuel to business because money is a fuel to your business. Without it, then definitely it's like a car without fuel. And of course, when you have a source of money, something happens. You are able to pay up your bills very easily. So no noise from suppliers. You are able to pay them on time. If you say you are paying in 30 days, you are able to pay in 30 days. If you are paying in 45 days, you are able to pay up your bills, your rentals. This morning, somebody wrote to me, say, "Hey, George, man, please, can you lend me money because I'm being auctioned?" Why? By who? By the landlord. Why? I haven't paid rent, for 6 months. But when you have the finances, you are able to access money, you are able to pay these disturbing bills very easily. And then number three, there's some kind of stability for your business, stability in your operations. When you have the money, there is stability in your operations. There is stability. The weather is good. The working capital, you're able to access money. And I think something working capital, I was expecting a friend of mine to come here and give us some kind of tips on how to access some of this funding. She works in a big bank and she had promised to come. I hope she's coming. And if she's there, you can raise your hand. We'll give her maybe 10 minutes to tell us how to source, how to convince the owners of money, the owners of capital to give us so that we're able to thrive and do business. Because when I look at all of you here, you are willing, you are looking forward to getting this money and thrive. And definitely when you have the money, something happens. You are able to hire right. You hire the right talents. Remember, when we were starting Optiven, even getting people to hire was a problem. I remember one time when Gilfiland, and we had these interviews. We had called people for interviews, and we had checked their CVs, and they were good. And we are paying well. Actually, I remember that time we are paying a senior accountant at 25,000. But funny enough, when people came for the interview, the office was very small. Some were just peeping and going back. They just peep. Once they see the size of an office, they go back. They say, "Hey, these guys, even that money, they cannot be able to pay." But when you have the money, you have the capital, you are able to attract who is who. Any talent, you can attract them, including even foreigners. You are able to hire right. So when you have money, you have funds for your business, you are able to hire the right people, the competent people with the skills, very, very important. Nowadays, when you do an advert as Optiven, we get thousands of applications. Before, we were getting 3, 4, 5. We had to lobby to come and people to come and join us. Of course, we have the funding. You also attract investors. Yeah, yeah. I remember it was the year 2014 when we were voted the best SME in the Republic. And I remember the following day, I hosted 5 big banks in our office. 5. They were all willing to give us money. Why? When you have the money, money costs money. Money attracts money. When you don't have, you don't attract. So when you have the money, you attract more funders, more people willing to support you. It's like being a successful person. Once you're a successful person, you also attract a lot of friends. When you don't have anything, sorry, you don't attract anyone. And I have an experience, those people who know my story, okay? When you have the funding, you attract customers. Yes, because you are able to offer services, good services, you attract more customers, business expand because you have the resource. And then you are able to be flexible. You're able to be adaptable as a business. You have the money. You can be flexible. You can say, I want to open 3 offices, 4 offices, 5 offices. You're flexible. You're able to plan. You're able to do stuff. But without money, it becomes very difficult. Of course, when you have the funding, you also have ability to capture new opportunities. Yes, you can be able to capture, to seize new opportunities. And that's why we find that when the economy is thriving, businesses are thriving, careers are thriving. Why? You can be able to identify new opportunities, you can expand. And of course, as you expand, you're talking about expansion in numbers. Your balance sheet, your cash flow is good. But now the big question is, the swali ni, where do you source these funds? Where do you get this funding? Utaipata wapi? One of the things when you are starting as Optiven, it's going to be very practical. That stationery business, we used to borrow a lot from our friends. I remember there's a friend of mine who is now very senior in government. You know, that time he was a member of parliament. And every time we get an order, the agreement was, please scan the order, send to me, do some calculations. I want to see the margins. And then, depending on the margins you are making, he was adding some interest. Say, I'll give you 100,000, but I'm adding 7%, 10%, you know. And this friend of mine really supported me. So that means those who are on a startup, develop good relationship. You can get money from your friends. But the trick is, please pay. When you get money from your friends, please pay. I remember this guy, by the end of the month, whether the supplier, whether the customer has paid or not, he said, you must pay my money plus interest. Okay? Something else you can also do, and I used to do because me, I mentor from practical experience, is that pulling resources together. Yeah. Pulling resources together. I remember one time I had a car hire, you know, and this car hire, we were 3 partners, and we were contributing money together, even to be able to buy fuel. So please don't do business alone. Don't be alone ranger. Have some friends that can pull together, especially when you're starting. You know, I have one of my sons who is doing Airbnb business, and they are putting together 3 friends. They're in college, but they are 3 friends together, and they are contributing the little money they are getting. Why? There is power when you pull together. You can be able to raise funds. Where do you source this money? Yes, most of us, you belong to chamas. And personally, I've seen chamas doing exploits. One time I was working for World Vision, and we used to have a chama that we used to contribute to venture into real estate. And I remember every month we are contributing money. And for the first time, we were 18 of us. We bought a house somewhere in Maradaiba. Can you imagine? And we had a big plan to keep buying houses, and putting tenants there. But I don't know which animal came that, you know, Tulisa Baratika. Even now, we have a few properties, but we no longer meet. People went all over. Some of us are now PSs, others are politicians. So we went all over. But it was working. The same case with you. If you have a Shama out there, it can be a source of money for your business expansion. And you have seen many people that I mentor, and they say, hey, George, you know, this capital I got from my Shama. So it's possible. But the thing is, always be honest, okay? Another source of funds that you can also think about to expand your business or to kickstart or start your business is what is very popular with Kenyan people, the SACCOs. Yeah. I don't know how many people here belong to a SACCO. So if you belong to a SACCO, just tell me which SACCO you belong to. I'm looking at the chat line. Just tell me. I want to see whether you guys, you belong to savings and credit. If you belong to any SACCO, please just type there. I want to see how many SACCOs are represented here. Just tell me, hey, George, I'm this SACCO. Okay. And I'm happy that nowadays, I love this. This is Pius, Tioki, Vision SACCO. I like that. Unitas SACCO. This is Anne Wanjiro. This is who? Annabelle, Hazina SACCO. You guys, you are good. Francisca, Upenyo SACCO. And with the Hamza. Let me see. You are moving very fast. Let me see. This is who? Hamza. Takwa SACCO. I love that. Sylvia Masharia. UN SACCO. I love this. Lydia Muringe, Daktari yako hapa. I'm in Stima SACCO. Yeah, this is a source of money for your business. Yes, Stima SACCO. This is Steven Modia, Taifa SACCO. I love that. Taifa SACCO. Taifa SACCO. This is Ruth Jerry, Waumini SACCO. I love this. This is who? This is, I can't see the name properly. I can see 2310. Verona SACCO. This is very good. Selem, CEO, United Women SACCO. I love that. This is Lucy Munga. I belong to Blue Eagle SACCO. I love this. This is Mary Keriaku, United Women SACCO. I like that. Nani huyu? Celestine Janina, Jamii SACCO. I love this. Oh, Kimisitu. This was my SACCO. Kenneth Kithiji. I was in charge of supervisory to check your money. Wow, I'm happy to see Kimisitu here. Alex Kimwetich, Stima SACCO, the best SACCO. Hey, huyo sasa ameshaanza kuimarket. I like that. Moses Wangila belongs to Magereza SACCO. I love this. Kenneth Kenneth Kithinji belongs to Kenya Bankers Circle. Wow. Hey, Kube, you guys, you are good. You are sharp. Samuel Kongo, my church circle under Caritas. I love that. Yeah, Caritas. I think Caritas and Optiven, we do business together. They finance our people to buy properties. Moon, Mr. Daniel, all in circle. Yes, yeah, Samuel Kamau, Ken, this is what? Ken Vasti circle. Okay. Muhasibu, this is Joseph. Asante sana. Muhasibu is also my circle. Eunice Wanjiko, Equity Bank Circle. You guys, you are good. I'm very proud of you. I can see I am talking to human beings. Okay, this is very good. Now, those circles is the source of your money to expand your business, especially if you borrow and pay. You borrow and pay. I am liking it. I love it. Another source of money, which is very interesting, is the banks. Kenya, we have over 40 banks. You must be able to develop a relationship with a bank. And last time I told you a story of how I started by borrowing 2,000. I paid, borrowed 5,000, paid, borrowed 20,000, 70,000, 100,000, 1 million. You know, because when you borrow and trade, it's recommendable. There are people who say don't borrow. No. Go ahead and borrow. Build a good relationship with the bank. And I think last time I told you, you can even visit your bank manager. You keep your name, okay? And until the time you grow, that you don't need to visit the bank visits you. You know, when you're too big, you don't need to go to the bank. The bank will come to your office. The bank will deliver. I remember one time, one of our directors was looking for a card, a dollar card, and I remember the manager from our bank came to the office, filled all the papers, and within a day, one of the directors had that dollar card. Can you imagine? So that's my prayer for all of you, that your companies will grow, where you are working, the businesses will grow, that the owners of money will be looking for you. I don't know how many people here are working for the bank. So if you're working for a certain bank, please go to the chat line, tell us which bank you are working for, so that we can link up all of my mentees. I can link them up to your bank. So if you're working for a bank, please tell me which bank are you working for, so that we start developing this relationship, because banks led relationships, okay? Relationship first. If you're working for a bank, just type there and tell me which bank. If you're working for a bank, let me see kama kuna watu wanafanyia benki kazi. Uko unafanyia benki, just type there, okay? Or you're working for a financial institution, not a sacco. Sacco tumeshaziona, that can give our people money. We are looking for money to expand our businesses. So if you're there, I'm on the chat line. I am checking whether I have any mentee working for a bank or working for an institution that gives money. If you're working for an institution giving money, just type something there saying, yes, we want to link you up. They say that relationship is the most important. I remember last time we were in cohort 5, there was a banker, and there's this other gentleman who was doing real estate, and he was looking for money to buy a piece of land and resell. And there were a lot of challenges. And the linking alone, this gentleman was able to get 15 million. Can you imagine? Through connection of another mentee. So it works. And from the look of things, ni kama ninaona hakuna mtu anafanya benki. So I think the Vice Chancellor, we need to do more. We need to bring bankers here, those who are working in the bank, so that they can be able to help our mentees to access money. And definitely, I'll be able to get one of the bankers in one of the sessions so that we are able to build. Nimeona moja hapa. Is it for real, home bank? Pius, Pius, is it for real? Ama ni banki ya nyumbani, ama ni ya kusave? Asante Siuki. Okay, no worries. We are going to look for a banker who can come and speak to us so that we are able to borrow money. Ameita home bank. Hii ya kuweka pesa kidogo kidogo. Thank you, Pius. Okay, which are the sources of money? You can be able to get money from, trade credit. Trade credit. What is that now? What is trade credit? You can be able to buy your items on credit and sell in cash. Yeah, that's very interesting. I used to run a shop in Gara. And all my beauty products, the one I was selling, I was buying all those products on credit. And then when you come to buy, it's cash. End of the month, I have sufficient money to pay all my suppliers. Definitely what Pius is saying, the personal savings. Yes, the personal savings. Remember the formula of 70, 10, 10, 10. The formula of 70, 10, 10, 10. 10% you tithe, 10% you save, 10% you put on an insurance, and then 70% you use. And I would like to encourage all my mentees, you know, the trend, the routine, the behavior of saving. One of the things that we are not very good at, especially for us Africans, is savings. And we say we'll start saving when we have money, real money. Maybe when I see a lot of money. No, 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 no. Whatever little that you have, 10%, please put it under savings. And that savings should be able to earn you something. Don't just put it on a saving that is not earning anything. Look for all these products in the insurance, products in the bank, that this money can be able to earn you something. If you save for 5 years or 10 years, the amount of money you will have is amazing. You know, the other day, there's a friend of mine who lost a job. The friend was working with the USID, you know, very big salary. And within a short time was saying, hey, George, you know, I want to cancel my land deal. You know why? The money I have can only take me for 3 months. The money I have can only take me for 3 months. Then I was discussing with her, I was asking her, by the way, have you been saving? Then she told me, George, you know, me, I discover savings very late. You know, we get the money, we use it, and within no time, you are waiting for the next salary. So I want to encourage all of you, put that money in money markets. You know, put it somewhere. I don't know how many people are working here on the money markets or insurance. You know, if you're working for an insurance or money markets, Zimere and the rest, please just type there. I want to give you a shout out. Okay? This is Daisy Miano says, put that savings, that 10% in money markets. Itakuzalia. You know, it will be a she money. I don't know who else is working for, you know, either an insurance where our people can put some little money there and gives birth, it multiplies, get interest. You know, tell me if you're working for any of such an organization. Okay, let me see. Ah, I see. Ruth is here. ICEA Lion Insurance. Yes, this is where to put your money. Yeah, get in touch with Ruth. Ruth, you can share your number. Even if it is 2,000 a month, put it there. 1,000 a month, hakuna pesa kidogo ya savings. Every little money, it's money for savings. I can see Lucy, Monga, yeah. You okay? SIB, put the money there, let it give birth. And you know, when there's a mentee here, you can easily connect. Please share your number right there, you know, and start this saving journey. You know, one time I really wanted to buy a property when I was very young. I remember it was 1998 and 97 when I had just finished school. You know, I was admiring people who own homes in Nairobi. And I remember one time I took a matatu, you know, went to Komalok, phase 4, just to see the houses that were being sold by building society. I just went there to see, just to enjoy myself. I had no money at all. You know, I had no money at all. And I said, hey, Yani, if I get this house, it was 3 bedroom, and 1 bedroom is upstairs. Can you imagine sleeping upstairs? It was a maisonette. And this house was being sold at 1.9 million, but my salary was 18,000. That alone inspired me to keep saving, and I started saving money. The time I had saved 10% of 1.9, I went to housing finance to look for a mortgage. And that's how I got my first mortgage, through saving. So if you're there, I can see Ruth has already shared the number. Get in touch with them. Even if it is 1,000, 2,000, keep it there. You remember me one day. Remember, we are also growing older. Life, years wait for no man. Life is moving. If you don't start now, if you don't start this month, when will you start? So very, very important. Personal savings. And personal savings can boost you to kickstart your business. And then grants. Oh, yes, you know. I remember sometimes back, you know, previous governments used to give people grants. Nowadays, I don't see those grants. I see them in other countries. First given to kickstart you. Of course, there are those who are running non-profit organizations. There are still grants out there. I remember the other day, our Optiven Foundation, we got a grant to boost our foundation activities. We bought a grant. Somebody gave us some money to support children, okay? Over COVID, we saw some government giving grants, I don't know whether there are any grants available in Kenya that you are aware of. And if there is, please go to the chat line and tell us, are there grants that our people can be able to apply as they do business? Okay, if you know any, just type it right there. Myself, I don't remember any other than the out of the country, okay? If there are grants, you can share that information as a source of money to boost or to kickstart your business. Something else I've also seen some of my friends do is crowdfunding. Yeah, crowdfunding. Initially in Kenya, they were refusing it, but I have seen a number of people. The other day I was in Burundi, and I saw this entrepreneur who was authorized to do crowdfunding from citizens. The government of Burundi was doing a huge mall, in the center of the city. And this developer was given permission to do funding, crowdfunding from the members of the public. And the crowdfunding means you can have so many people in millions, in thousands, giving 5 bob, 10 bob, 15 bob, 100 bob. And this number of people can be able to raise millions. I remember this guy showing me how the money was coming into the account, in billions, of Bujumbura currency. I don't know whether the Kenyan government now, there are people who raise money through crowdfunding. It's a very easy way of raising money. However, I've seen a lot of people do that for the charitable organization. For business, I am yet to see people raise that other than that friend of mine. This is who? This is Rewell says, okay, Impact runs, what is that? E41 Impact runs competitions and offers grant to business. I love that. Thank you, Rowell Mumbo. Asante sana. You can share that more information. You never know. Some of the people here might benefit from that organization. Okay, that is crowdfunding. Of course, those who are doing business, you know that how we raise money, retained earnings. Please, those who are running organization, owned by shareholders, don't give everything to the shareholder. Retain some money for expansion, some profit, okay? Retain some money, and then keep it up. After you distribute something to the shareholders, retain something, retained earnings. I'm sure somebody like Suki knows what I mean. Those who do books of accounts, there are some retained earnings. You can use it for expansion. And definitely a cash grant from government, okay? Direct assistance, when I was in university, I used to see a lot of university graduates doing PhD, and they were looking for these grants. They were looking for these government grants for research. And I remember one guy got very good money. So these are some sources that we can explore, we can research and apply. Of course, you don't apply, you can't find it. Wow, thank you so much, Rewell, for Mumbo, for sharing all the information. So it's upon you guys to pick the information and follow it up, follow it up, Somebody said nothing comes easy. There is a link there, given link there. So you can pick it up and do a follow-up. You can do a follow-up, you never know. Where do we get the money from? The family loans. Okay, family loans. I think I'm a victim of that. I used to borrow money from the family members. And yes, you can do it. Because when you're starting, you may not have a lot of money. You can be able to borrow from the families. Receivable financing. Hiyo ni nini? This is accounts receivables. Instead of putting all those receivables in your Excel sheet, you may find you have maybe 2 million on receivables. You can sell them, to the banks, to the owner of the money. You sell them at a discount, and you are able to get some revenue. Angel investors, oh yes, get funds in exchange of equity or debt. But majority of angel investors, they want equity, they want ownership. I remember one time KCB was running some competitions whereby if the idea is so good, somebody puts in money for equity. And I think there are so many activities as such. Okay, angel investors. If you know any angel investor, you can also drop a first contact on the platform. Just drop there. If you know any angel investor, that's why this mentorship is practical. You never know. You might know somebody, and these mentees might go out there looking for money. If you know any, just drop there. Thank you so much. Yeah, it is called Lion's Den. Yes, Lion's Den. Thank you, Hassan. Asante sana. So anybody else who knows any angel investor, just drop in there, okay? Where our mentees can get funding in exchange of shareholding. You may give 10%, 20%, 30%, okay? If you know any, you can just drop there. I don't know whether there are many in Africa. I see a lot of them coming from the Western countries, you know. If you know any angel investor, you can also drop it there on the chat line. You never know. We are here to network. We are here to support each other, okay? Where do you get more money? Utapata pesa wapi? Invoice financing. Yes. This is called the finance here, like Suki, they call it short-term borrowing. You know, you borrow short-term, you know, and I used to do it at Optiven, you know. You check at your finances. I love this. Joyce Kibet, acumen.org, impact investors in Kenya. You guys, you are getting information right here. Angel investors, please pick that link. And if you succeed, you come and testify here. You come and testify to encourage other mentees on where to look for money. Yeah, to encourage other mentees. Thank you, Joyce, for sharing. I love this. Thank you so much for sharing. I really like it. There is also, this is what? Mansa X at SIB. Yes, they also do financing, friendly financing for startups. I think I love that. Asante sana. I really like it. I like it. I love it. Okay. Invoice financing. This is short-term borrowing, whereby you borrow money against the amount due. Okay. You know, you have invoices, you are waiting for the money, and then you can be able to get money in advance. There are other people who call it, you know, and I used to do it, the LPO financing. Yeah. You know, you discount it, you get the money in advance. And definitely, this also helps when you have an emergency for your business, the credit cards. Yeah, some credit cards can give you up to 45 days. Others give up to 60 days. Yes, you can use that money and trade with it. Okay, credit cards. Look at this one. This one you have in Optiven, leasing. Yeah, you know, leasing is a source of funding. You know, the other day, you know, we hired the expert in our organization. You know, the people who are doing. Eric Obwaka, thank you for sharing. Eric Obwaka shared something there. You know, Swift Capital. Wow, this is where to get money. I am liking it. I love it. Kenya Angel Investment Network.co.ke. You guys, thank you, Joyce Kibet, for sharing that. It is all on you now. Pesa inaingia, not only George talking. Money, you are getting links where to get money to kickstart your business, to build your business. Okay. And I was talking about leasing. You know, I was the other day. You know, we are hiring these young people, Gen Z, in our ICT department. And I was told these guys cannot work with the normal laptops, you know, they require big machines. And then I was asking, how much are these big machines, you know? And I was told it's between 250,000 to 300,000. All of a sudden, I remembered, what if we do leasing? And then we asked our procurement, can you check for me, how much does it cost to lease these very expensive? Yeah, thank you, Eric Obwaka. They are called Omena computers. They're called Omena computers. And then I said, what if we lease so that we conserve our money? Can you imagine if I was to buy 10 computers at 250,000? How much money is that? 2.5 million, right? That's a lot of money, especially at a time like now. So I told my procurement guy, do for me a research. How much is it to lease these computers? I was shocked. I was amazed. With only 11,000 shillings a month, these guys can use this powerful computer. And that's what we do. So some of these assets, you don't need to buy them. You need to lease them. The other day, I hosted one of the banks. I think it's the NCBA bank. And they told me they have a wing in their bank whereby they are leasing furniture. They are leasing computers. They are leasing cars. So if you want to drive a TX, you don't need to buy. You don't need to put 20 million. No, 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 no. Eric, that 20 million boosts your business. You can lease and enjoy these facilities. You can do leasing. And I think I want to encourage all the mentees, before you invest big money, lease. Let me give you another example that we are doing at Optivate, because mentorship is very practical. You know, we used to buy big machines for photocopying, big, a lot of money. Until one time, our procurement manager, the lady who did analysis for us, that instead of buying this stuff and maintaining and everything, why can't we lease and we only pay per copy? Let me tell you, we saved over 30%. Can you imagine? So this is something that you can try in your business. Don't buy everything. Don't own everything. Lease. Do leasing. It's a way of, boosting your business and conserving your money, your capital. That capital can do something else. Okay. Very, very important. Okay. Where do you get the source of funding? Assets financing. Yes. There are many ways that you can be financed, and then you spread the cost. If you want to buy a machine, you can do asset financing. You use it as you pay pole in 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, asset financing. And I think most of the banks, they are very good in asset financing. So if you're in asset financing, you can also tell me on the chat line, are you in asset financing? Maybe some of our networks here, they can be able to access that kind of facility. Debt capital, oh yes, yeah. Borrowing and then repay with interest. Yeah, that's very important. And I think most of the businesses are financed by debt. However, don't borrow for consumption. Just borrow for business. Very, very important. Equity financing, leasing money by selling some shares. Yes. Sometimes you can make a choice. Do you want a queen cake or do you want a cake? You can be able to sell shares of your business and get money. Okay. You all know the story of how our one of the biggest banks, how they do. Somebody comes, buy some shareholding, and then they offload later. I'm sure you remember the story of Helios and Equity Bank. They bought some shares, later on they quit after a number of years. Equity financing, very, very important, especially when your business is doing well. And then the last one, you can also issue some shares. You can sell some shares, either to the existing shareholder or you can do a right issue. I'm sure you saw what Housing Finance did the other day. They raised a lot of money on right issue. So all these are sources of money. They are ways of getting financing. And as we conclude, I can see we have less than 10 minutes, is that what happens when you don't get this money? What happens? One of the things that happens is that the business dwindles. The business can even die. So do not allow your business to die when you have all these 21 ways of sourcing money. Go out there. All those angel investors that we are, sharing here, try them. Keep trying. Those banks knock the doors, go there. I remember the time I was looking for money. I used to go personally to lobby for money, to meet with the bank manager, branch manager, telling them how the business is doing, Build those relationships. Don't wait. Don't just do a proposal and wait. Go there, negotiate, okay? What happens when you don't have sufficient money? Something happens. There is reduction on efficiency on the way you work, okay? You struggle to operate. I remember that we struggled in 1999, 2000, 2005. We were struggling because there were no resources. And as you struggle, it's for you to network. Ask for people. I am surprised that most of the mentees here, they have serious networks. And that's why we are saying we now need a combined physical meeting and also online meeting so that we can be able to know each other. We can be able to build relationships. You never know. I always tell a story on how I get my first money through relationship. Of course, we don't have money, something happens. There is a increasing of cost. Sometimes the nurse at Optivate, we don't have sufficient money to do validation. What happens? Cost goes up. You're not able to do validation as quickly as you want. What happens? The cost goes up. Okay? And when you have money, you are able to do things very quickly and you save a lot of money. Those who are in operations, you know what I mean, okay? When you don't have money, there are missed opportunities. Yes, yeah, and you see something, an opportunity, you cannot capture it because you don't have the money. You don't have the money. You know, one time, sometimes I go to see property, some lands, and I say, wow, this property is so good, but there is no money. What happens? You miss opportunities. And that's why it's good to develop a relationship with the owners of capital, that when you have something to do, you don't have the money, you have the relationship, you can borrow and acquire what you want. Of course, you don't have the money, something happens, decreased or lack of confidence. Yeah, lack of confidence. Any business without sufficient money, you can tell from the CEO, they don't have confidence. There's customer dissatisfaction because you're not able to service your customers. I remember one time you got an order of sanitary pads. We had no money. It was a big order to supply them in Sudan. It was in millions. We had no money. Can you imagine? We just watched the LPO go. We could not supply. It was very, very, very discouraging. You see this in the order, you can make money, but you have no money to supply. When you have no money, there's shortage of personnel. You can't attract the right people. They will say, no, I told you what happened with Optivet. People are coming, peeping at the office at Gilfiland. They ran away. They don't want to come. Today, no, we don't have that challenge, those challenges. And maybe that's why for you, I was talking to one of the mentees who told me, I want my office to be at home. It is so good to work from home, but you may need a physical office that is well equipped so that when you invite the potential funders, potential customers, they see potential in you. That's why you make our offices very beautiful, those who are able. Of course, when you have no money, there is financial setback, reduction in profitability, and also increased debt. Uko na madeni, you're not able to pay. And I remember last session we said, when you find the debts are more, you need to market more to be able to cope up with the payment. Maybe that's a discussion of another day. Of course, when you have no money, something happens. Increased competition. You are not able to compete. Others are thriving and you are struggling. And definitely the brand dwindles. The brand goes down. And for me, as I conclude, my prayer is, let's build this relationship to look for money, to get funding. Let's think of things like, how can you capitalize on your receivables? How can you do LPO financing? And I'm so sure in this platform, there could be people who do LPO financing. If you do, just type there on the platform. We need to know you because I believe the 72 of us, we can create a community like the Asian community, whereby we are able to support one another. We're able to trade with one another. We're able to introduce relationship that can help these mentees. We have the resources, we have what it takes, we have knowledge, we have wisdom. So we do not want to look for solutions out there. So if there are people here who do LPO financing, you can just type there. Or you do invoice discounting, or maybe you do any a kind of this funding and you're in this platform, jitangaze tu, jitangaze, you are head of a circle and you're saying, here you can be able to be supported. We must support our people to get finances, to expand their ventures, to expand their businesses. Because without money, it's like a car without fuel. So if you're there in financial, financial sector, or you are in microcredit, or you are working for these people who extend discounts or discounts receivables, you can just tell us on the platform right there, and then I'll mention your name. Kwani mnafanya kazi gani jameni? Mwafanya kazi gani? Sioni watu wa pesa hapa. I'm waiting to see. Okay. Mnafanya kazi wapi? I don't see any money people here. Let me see whether I can get one or two. Okay, I can't find any on the platform. So maybe you need to invite the owners of capital and come and speak to us. Without much ado, I'll allow you 2 minutes. If you have any question, you can go to the platform and ask me a question, and I'll be able to answer in the next 3-4 minutes. So if you have any question, comment, just put it there on the chat platform, okay? The chat line, okay? Any comment, any question, you can just put it there. As I wish you all the very best as you look for money to build up your empire, okay? You look for money to build your empire. Okay, any question, any comment, just type it there. I'll read it out, and then we shall be able to conclude our discussion this wonderful evening. And those who are in the US, we wish you all the very best. Joyce Kibet, what are your thoughts about borrowing from foreign bank? Wow. Okay. One of the challenges we have when we borrow from foreign banks is you can get money cheaply, okay? But central bank have got some regulations. You have to normalize so that you don't dilute our economy. You know, initially I thought you could borrow money at 4%, bring the money to Optiven, and the trade. I was shocked when I got very good funding. And I was told, sorry, you cannot bring this money. You have to put some margins through central bank so that don't dilute our currency. However, there are ways to do it. You can open an account in those foreign countries and that money is put there. Then you'll be bringing kidogos, you know, but you can't bring a big chunk at once, okay? This is Yuki Hustler Fund, Baduiko, one of the sources of business funds, okay? I don't know. I'm not an expert on Hustler funds, but I think, I don't know whether it's still there. I reserve my comments. I don't know whether it's still there. This is Mumbo. Thank you so much, Daktari. I suggest you can build an angel investors network from this team. I love this. Yeah, I'm told here there are people who are managed. They can buy shares from each other. Wow, I think I like it. Could be a discussion when we meet physically. VC is planning for us to meet to have a physical meeting. I love that. Stephen Mudia, just as you have said, I feel we can organize for an event that will involve bonding and team building because we are a team already. We have Hamza and myself who can help in team building. Wow, VC umesikia hiyo maneno. Maybe we need to call these people for team building at GMC. Wow, I think I like it. CPA John Bogwa, do you know any leasing company that can lease commercial washing machine? Yes, you can contact NCBA Bank. They are doing leasing. Or you can just Google. By the way, when I Googled about leasing for laptops, I was amazed. I saw so many companies. I did not, even some I did not anticipate, and they are doing it. Wow, thank you, team. It's now exactly 9 p.m. and I wish you the very best. So allow us to adjourn the meeting until next time that we meet. But I can see a comment here saying, the Directors Referral Network is a club of directors and CEOs from different industries that meet twice in a month to network, okay? This is Collins Gashanja. Kindly, can you send the financing options? Okay. And then this is Joyce. Thank you. This is Eric. Eric is really sharing. I like Eric. Thank you for sharing the leasing link. Hiya, there you are. Okay. HTTPS Ventures. Okay. Pick that link. Those who are looking for leasing. Some financial interest rates are too high to be covered by profit. Thank God the government has reduced the interest. You can now get as low as 16%, and we thank God for that. We are hoping to be 13.5 very soon. So God bless you. Allow me to adjourn the meeting and see you next time we link up. God bless you. Have a fantastic evening. Asanteni sana. Go out there and thrive.